You're very welcome. Okay, today we're going to talk about measuring performance. So before I get started, I always like to define exactly so we're all on the same page. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, their policy guidelines, performance measurement involves determining what to measure, identifying the data collection methods, and the collection of data. This definition focuses on the need to take the time to define what you're measuring as well as how you will collect it. But then you think, why would organizations want us to perform project or measure project performance? And there's lots of reasons. If we were in a group, I would love to have you call some of them out. But basically, the reasons that are most identified is to see where there might be areas of performance that you need to improve, or if you want to benchmark your organization against industry standards or some performance. One that I use it for quite often is to evaluate the effectiveness of a change that you're putting in, or even to determine the value or the impact of project management within your organization. An example of this might be, for instance, if 80% of your projects are coming in late and you consider putting in a rigid project management process to see if that might improve things. Well, you would want to measure the performance after the change, which is implementing a new process, and then see if there is some performance improvement. And one of the reasons this has become really important is because of benefits realization. I don't know if all of you are aware of it, but this is a whole new process that's becoming very important in organizations. The business analysts like Gartner and Forrester, they're advising organizations to start ensuring that the benefits or the objectives that were found in the business case, or the goals that they had stated that actually sold the project in the beginning, the benefits realization is a process to make sure that they are met. So I'm sure many of you, because I know I have, in your experience, you write up this beautiful business case, say what you propose this project to be able to do, but then no one measures after the project is completed. And that's going to be changing because businesses are learning that they're losing a lot of money, that there's no follow-through in some of the anticipated benefits that they think they might have. And performance measurement is key to benefits realization. You can't do benefits realization if you don't know performance measurement. So this is an important aspect and one you might be finding yourself involved in the future. Okay, and I want to make sure that there's a difference, you understand the difference between performance measurement and value measurement. For a performance measurement, you start with the current baseline. For instance, if you feel like your projects keep changing, that there's no defined scope, so you put a change in. And with performance measurement, there's always something that has to happen before you start measuring. You want to see you're measuring something. So you put a change in to say that we're going to mandate the use of scope statements. Your organization has never had them. So your current baseline might be every project, and I'm just using bogus numbers, goes out of scope about 20 times. And so you put this mandate in that they have to use scope statements, and you notice that all of a sudden the scope changes actually have decreased to maybe 15 because there's a learning curve. And then so that's your performance change. You have a 25% improvement at that stage. And then you measure again, you measure quarterly, and you're finding out that you can get it down with the mandate of using scope statements, that all of a sudden you've eliminated or nearly eliminated the runaway projects or the scope creep. And then you try and change that. That's your value. That's the cumulative performance change, not just a one-time change, but the cumulative. And then you try and convert that into dollars if possible so that you can tell a story. For instance, you might have spent $1 million on all these scope creep that you keep occurring in your organization. And because you've mandated this one change, you've noticed you've been able to cut it down to this amount, and then you tell a story. Money is always a great way to do that, but it's not always available. There might be situations where it's more intangible, so you might need to link your outcome with causes. And there was a situation where there was a pharmaceutical company that was in California, and what they did is they noticed there was being a connection being lost with their workers and their products. So they started to line their entry hall with pictures. They happened to be a product development company for that was making a drug for breast patients, cancer survivors. And so they started putting pictures in the stories to make that connection. And the way that they were able to measure that, even though it's a feeling, was more through an employee satisfaction survey, where they were able to measure that one project, that change they made a difference in the employees' outlook and connected them more to the work that they did with the results they were getting for the company. But I just really wanted to make sure you understood there's a difference between measuring the performance, which is singular, of a singular project, versus the value, which is the cumulative. But they're mutually supportive disciplines. I always like to give some research on the subject I'm talking about. So in this case, performance measurement. At PM Solutions, we do a lot of research, and in 2016, we did one on the current data on performance measurement, and we found that that 40% increase in the percentage of PMOs in high-performing organizations over the PMOs in the low-performing organizations engage in project manager, and PMO performance monitoring and controlling. More significant was the best-in-class PMOs. 100% of them were performing crucial PPM project portfolio management functions, including performance monitoring. And then 100% of them were doing PMO performance, and that they report that measuring and reporting on the PMO value was one of their top priorities. This to me demonstrates the increased importance of performance measurement in business. The role of the performance measurement in organizations is actually key. As the figure above illustrates, in a healthy system, performance measurement plays a key central role. It feeds and it's fed by a lot of the processes that modern organizations execute daily. If the performance measurement system is effective, it can enable real focused success in the organization. You'll see the arrows go both ways for strategic planning, program management, project management, performance management, quality. These are all the things that performance measurement should be touching in your organization. How well you report and monitor, how well your human resource management is, the financial management, are you doing a good job with that? All of those, it's key in a healthy system. However, the implementation of any system like this can cause problems, and there can be potential disbenefits, and that's a word that comes from benefits realization or challenges. No matter what, though, it should be playing a key role. What do you think one area that can be greatly challenged by the implementation of a measurement system? What do you think one thing that would be challenged is? Well, it's actually the culture. Because the culture sometimes is resistant to these numbers. What are these numbers? How are they going to impact them? But some of the success factors that you have to be aware of is, if you're going to start a program in your organization, is there has to be senior management involvement. The performance measurement understanding, people have to know what they're talking about. What are the key concepts and terms? And there is a whole glossary of terms for performance measurement. How does it align with the organizational strategies and objectives? what are some of the key business processes we're